Welcome back to the Realist Podcast. My name's Alyssa Howard. I'm your host, and I hope you have had an amazing week, or, you're just having a good day whenever you're listening or watching. In this episode, we're breaking down our intuition. This is going to be fun because I am a highly intuitive being and I haven't always been. So I'm really excited to talk about this because ever since tapping into my intuition in a whole nother way, life has been so much easier. Like genuinely easier. Intuition is your inner guide, or something like I call my inner GPS, or as religious people would call it, God talking to me or God talking to them. It's all kind of the same thing, I believe. It's just a knowing or something that we quote unquote hear that isn't necessarily us or our brain, I should say. But yeah, it's always there. We just often overlook it. So I'm gonna help you guys recognize your intuition if you aren't aware or can't really tell the difference between intuition and anxiety, because that was me for a while. I'm going to teach you how to strengthen it and how to tell it apart from anxiety or overthinking in general, and what trusting your intuition can do for your life and what it looks like, because it is great over here. I'm just saying. All right, so part one, what is intuition? So intuition is just that gut feeling that we get, or that inner knowing without proof or any logic behind it. It's just a feeling that we just have. A lot of times people will be like, I just know, or I just have a feeling, or I just feel like it's this. That's your intuition. That's your gut feeling. It feels calm and it feels clear. It does not feel chaotic or all over the place. I've seen this in a few different places, like online, but there's quotes that say anxiety shouts and intuition. I said that weird. Anxiety shouts and intuition whispers, which is so true. Anxiety is rooted in fear. It is your brain. It's your logical brain trying to, I don't even know what it's trying to do, but it's trying to scare you or tell you something or whatever. It's loud and it's in your face. But intuition, there's just this quiet truth. Like, you don't have to fully know everything about whatever the situation is, and you just know. It's just quiet because it's just there. There's no logic that goes into it, really. It's just kind of a feeling that is there. So now we're going to get into how to strengthen your intuition, and I'm going to share with you my experience with strengthening my intuition. My intuition didn't start getting stronger until I started getting quieter. You cannot hear God or hear your intuition if you're constantly around people, constantly in your head, or constantly around noise. You have to be in silence and in stillness to be able to hear it. You have to quiet the noise or else you won't hear it. That's what's helped me significantly, is because your intuition's always there, and especially if there's something big and severe that you need to have a gut feeling about, that gut feeling will happen whether or not you're highly intuitive or not. It's just in us. We have the intuition. It's just there. So if we need it, or if God thinks that we need it in that moment, it will pop up. We will have the gut feeling. So you won't be in danger or whatever if you're not strengthening your intuition. Because again, it's already there. But with that said, when you do strengthen it, it is so much better. Life is so much easier. You're able to really live by the higher power, and it's almost like you just know what to do. My intuition didn't start getting stronger, or even me being able to hear it and decipher what it is, rather than just being like, oh, that's just a thought. No, that's your intuition. Just being able to tell the difference. It didn't start until I was quiet and started spending more time alone and actually allowing silence to occur, because that's when I would start getting what I call channeled messages or downloads. And again, what other people would call God talking to them. It's kind of, again, it's all the same thing. We're all souls, and we all are under a creator and a higher power. And so however that looks or sounds to you, that's what we're talking about. It's the same thing. So I started meditating and just spending more time alone just to hear your inner voice, because it is, I do believe it's you. It's your soul that is telling you something or knows something, or the higher power. I don't fully know, to be honest, but I know that it's not the human body or the human brain. It's something higher than that knows something that we don't, basically. Okay, so the biggest tip for strengthening your intuition, which I always say, is to listen to the small nudges, because that's how it starts. It always starts small and then it gets bigger. So for example, if you drive to the gym every single day, you don't need maps, nothing, and there's a couple different ways to get there, you always go one way and you always turn right at the light, but something tells you to turn left instead. Just turn left. Don't question it. Just turn left. and get there another way. There's a possibility you might find out later, oh, there was an accident right at that intersection that I would have been at, or that I would have been in the middle of, or at least witnessed. It's there to protect us, obviously, and to make us aware. So just start with the little nudges. Turn left instead of right if you feel like you need to turn left instead of right. If you made a plan of going somewhere, but something's telling you not to go, don't go. Even if you want to go, like, it's little stuff like that. Honestly, that's kind of a bigger thing, but just small nudges, listen to them, because the more you listen to your intuition, the stronger it gets. I swear, I can attest to this. This has literally happened to me. You have to start small. You have to listen to the small nudges, like turn left instead of turn right, park here instead of there. Don't speak to that person, or don't answer that phone call, or do answer that phone call. Text this person this, or go visit your grandpa. Tell your sibling you love them. Read this book. Read this chapter of this book. Go to the gym at this time instead of this time. Little stuff like that. I promise you, there's a reason for everything. There's a reason why you have that nudge. And if you just listen to it and just do it without question, you will see it's going to get stronger. It's almost like, okay, to personify it, I'm going to use God for an example. It's almost like God is like, okay, you're listening, so I'm going to keep telling you because I know you're going to listen. Like, I'm going to make it easier for you to hear me because you're listening to me. Like, I'm telling you to do something and you do it. All right, then I'll tell you to do something again and you're going to do it. Okay, I'm going to make it easier for you to listen to me, so I'm going to make that feeling stronger. That's the best way I can describe it. I'm telling you, just trust the little nudges. They're there for a reason, and it will quickly, I would say, strengthen your intuition, and you'll start to see why. And even if you don't, you'll just have a calming feeling and almost a sense of gratification that you listened. It's weird, but not. Another way that you can strengthen your intuition is to pay attention to your body. Our bodies speak to us. They really do. There's so many signs and messages. I know I sound like a little spiritual hippie guru. I kind of low-key am. I don't care, because I be knowing what I be knowing, okay? I know what I'm talking about from first-hand experience. But anyways, our bodies are constantly talking to us. Even aside from intuition, when we're sick, there's a reason, and it's not just because we're sick. Like, it's from something else. What's it called? There's like a breakdown of a word. Is it illness? No. Disease. The word disease broken down is dis-ease in the body. So there's something going on, and your body just shows it in a certain way, in a certain sickness or in a certain feeling. That's our body talking to us without intuition. Imagine if the context was intuition. So for example, I'll actually share a story, which is kind of tea for some people because of the certain situation, but whatever. So when I was living with a terrible roommate, if you know, you know, we're not getting into that. That's not the point. I had met somebody through her. And you also would probably know who this person is, but whatever. I had met somebody through her. There was a lot going on at that time. A lot of just chaos, but like quiet chaos. A lot of stealing, a lot of mischievous stuff going on, a lot of deception going on. And there was a house party that we were going to. In order to make this easier for all of us to follow along, I'm going to give everyone fake names. So the roommate, I'm going to just call her Michaela because that's what I did with the story time. Michaela, and then... and Soda. Okay, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, you already know. But anyways, so Soda is the friend that I met through Michaela. Me and Soda and another person were on the way to this house party where we were meeting Michaela. And on the way in the Uber to this party, I just had this gut feeling, and I mean physical feeling. Like, I felt like I was borderline nauseous. Like, my stomach was, it's almost like there were butterflies in my stomach. I literally felt nauseous. And I just had this strong physical feeling that something was going to go down. I kept saying in the car, I was like, guys, I have a weird feeling. Like, I have a feeling like there's going to be something involving Michaela in a fight. That's what I kept saying. This was the day before. I thought it was going to happen that night. But this was the day before a whole entire fight broke out. And that went completely left. And I ended up being almost evicted. And it was a whole thing. Okay. It was a blessing in disguise, though, because I did end up getting out of that lease with that person because I hated it there. But anyways, basically, it was a big event that was about to take place, and I knew it. Like, my body knew it before it even happened. I genuinely could not explain the feeling that I had, and I could tell the people I could tell the people in the car, including Soda, was like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? And not even 24 hours later, a fight broke out with this person. I genuinely did think that it was going to happen at the party, because I'm like, okay, we're on the way to the party. And now I have this weird feeling on the way to the party. So I was assuming it was happening at the party, which I will say there almost was a fight at the party too, because she was like provoking these girls or whatever, and they were literally trying to fight her. So we left. So maybe it was that too. But literally the next day after I had that strong feeling was when things went left and she got in a fight. I'm really only sharing this story because of what we're talking about, and because that was one of the bigger gut feelings that I've had, like, ever. There was another big gut feeling that I had probably a year ago, and it was, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be so honest, this is the realest podcast, okay? I'm real as fuck. This was a gut feeling about being intimate with somebody, and I had a gut feeling that I shouldn't have done it before doing it, and I did it anyway, and it bit me in the tail, because let's just say that person, no one should have known that I was with that person, okay? Let's just say that. And now people know that I was with that person. Like whatever, okay? I don't even know if I want to share that. I don't care. It is what it is. This is why you don't ignore your intuition. Like, let me allow that to be an example. Do not ignore your intuition, because you will find out later why you had that feeling in the first place and why you should not have ignored it. So I'm going to leave it in just so I can use my experience to help somebody else avoid stuff like that. Because again, there's a reason why we have intuitive feelings, and when we don't listen to them, we will fuck around and find out. I say all that to say, pay attention to your body, because your body tells you, even if it's not physically there, there's still going to be something in the back of your head that's like, don't do this, or do this, or call them, or don't, you know what I'm saying? There's going to be a tiny, tiny little voice in your head that tells you what to do, and you can either listen to it or don't, but either way, you know what I'm saying, it's going to play out differently depending on if you listen to that intuition or intuitive feeling. There's a reason why people say it's a gut feeling. It genuinely is a gut feeling. Science has proven multiple times that our gut and our brain are connected. Our gut is basically our second brain, hence why everyone says you are what you eat and all that, and gut health is so important. I really feel like that's why we get gut feelings. That's where our body is able to, I don't know the word, but like basically manifest in physical form for intuitive feelings. Like if it's not in our brain, it's in our gut. Also, another way is to journal about moments where you followed or ignored your intuition, and ask yourself what happened, and like really reflect on it, because that also will strengthen it, since you're dissecting what happened or what didn't happen based on whether you followed that intuitive feeling or not. And you don't even have to journal physically about it. Just take time to reflect about it at least, and ask yourself questions. Okay, say you ignored the intuitive feeling and then you effed around and found out. Basically ask yourself, what about that could have went different based on how you reacted or what you did? Just reflecting in general. And I pretty much say this in every episode now that I think about it. No matter what the topic is, reflect. It doesn't matter what the topic is, reflect. Okay? When you ask yourself questions on, okay, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did I react this way? Why didn't I react this way? You get answers and you're able to reflect. It's like taking inventory, and now you know how to move with certain things. So that's another good way to strengthen your intuition, is by reflecting on the times where you did or didn't listen to your intuition, and reflect on what happened after. Because I'm gonna be honest, more times than not, you will see why you had the intuitive feeling. Whether you listen to it or not, you will see why. Especially with the bigger feelings, especially with the bigger stuff. When it's small stuff like turning left instead of right, okay, maybe not. But it's almost like practice. Like stuff like that is practice, just to strengthen, you know, your intuition. It's almost like little reps in the gym, whatever. But moving boxes is when, you know, the big stuff happens. You know what I mean? So it's like, it would be nice to have the muscle, like the intuitive muscle, when something big does happen, because now there's no room for doubt. You know what it is. You know it's your intuition, and you're gonna listen to it without a doubt. So that's why I always say strengthen it, because when things go left, or before they go left, you will get a feeling, okay, I need to do this. And you will just do it, and you will not doubt it. However, say for example, I was not strengthening my intuition. I was not doing the little tiny reps up until that point about the whole fight feeling. I probably would have did stuff a little bit differently. It's not like the intuitive feeling was telling me to do something. It was more of just my body was preparing me. It was almost like warning me in a way. And I listened to it and I kept my eyes peeled and I stayed back from certain things. And I'm glad that I did, because if I never had that feeling, I would have been more oblivious to what was happening. But because I had that feeling in the back of my head, I remembered that. So even that alone, like, there's a reason. I also am remembering another intuitive moment where it wasn't anything I could have done, but it was, again, my body, the higher power preparing me and warning me. And my body and soul almost knew before I did what was about to happen. And it was during my car accident. I was luckily not driving. I was with my partner at the time, but he was driving. Thank God. Genuinely thank God he was driving, because I don't know what I would have done. Anyways, we were in downtown Atlanta. It was low-key rainy a little bit. The roads were wet, and we were in traffic because there was an accident or an accident being cleaned up. I didn't really see what was going on. And normally I'm a very empathetic being. Okay. I be crying for strangers on the internet like every day. I'm just very empathetic. I feel big feelings and I love that about me, but I just thought this was one of those moments. It was just weird because I felt so emotional when we were driving by the scene. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. I didn't see a body. I didn't see a stretcher. I didn't even see ambulance. I think it was just a firefighter truck or a firefighter truck. It was just a fire truck and, like a car or whatever. It really wasn't as bad as my emotions were making it seem. Basically, I was literally crying while driving past the scene, which was weird for me. And now looking back, I know that was just my body and like my intuition kind of kicking in. In that moment, that was my body telling me, hey, you're about to get in an accident. I didn't know. After we drive past the scene, naturally, people started speeding back up again. And because it's Atlanta and people are impatient, there were people kind of speeding because they're like mad that they stopped or whatever. Like, let me catch up and go fast, whatever. There was somebody trying to go fast and they slipped and ran into me or my car. Not me. I was not driving, but whatever. Ran into my car, threw us pretty much literally in a whole entire like spinning situation. It was very scary. I'm highly protected though, and I'm very grateful that we did not get hurt at all. But we really should have. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, that was terrifying. We spun through multiple lanes on the highway in downtown Atlanta. Like, we were literally facing traffic at one point. It was terrifying. But anyways, right before it happened, once we saw people speeding, my partner at the time literally said, oh, be careful, like, we don't want to get in an accident or something like that. Like, we basically said something about getting in an accident, and I was like, no, don't say that. Like, don't say that. And then quite literally a minute later, that happened. So that was really dragged out. I'm sorry. I'm working on my storytelling, okay? But I say all that to say my body was telling me, like, my body knew something was going to happen before it did. And that was my intuition. And after the accident happened, I reflected back on that moment. I was like, wow, that was my intuition. My body knew something was about to happen. And I don't know, I find it kind of fascinating that happens. And although there are going to be certain times and moments where there's nothing we can do because everything happens for a reason, and obviously, again, that was a blessing in disguise. That was going to happen regardless, and we were going to be okay. But my intuition was just like, hey, just so you know, like, something's about to happen. That can happen too. Sometimes there's nothing we can do. Sometimes it's not a direction. Sometimes it's just a feeling of something's about to happen. And those are my two top stories of something's about to happen. And it did. And I was like, wow, okay, that's exactly what that was. That was an intuitive feeling. And most of the time when it's stuff like that, that's when it's the most physical. It's just like you feel it in your body, whether it's emotional or in your gut or all over, or you're shaking uncontrollably and you don't know why, or your heart is beating faster than normal, or you're breathing a little heavier, or your gut is like, you feel nauseous, but you ate, you have water, you're fine. Stuff like that. Just try to pay attention to it and just be aware of your surroundings, especially if it's out of nowhere. You know, like I feel like you'll know, especially if you put in the reps and you're strengthening that intuition over time, you'll be able to decipher, this is not anxiety. This is my intuition. This is my body trying to tell me something. Okay. Part 3, intuition versus anxiety. Okay. So intuition is more of a feeling coming from the present moment. And anxiety and overthinking typically is about the future or even the past, but typically the future. Okay, so for example, let's say you're about to go on a date and you start getting this feeling before you go inside or before you meet him or whatever, or them, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know, I have a feeling that like he might be weird, or what if he's like blah blah blah, or what if it's a lot of what if, that's not intuition, that's your anxiety and overthinking. Or if you say, oh, I have a feeling that he's gonna do this or be like this, or if you're just over analyzing, that's typically not intuition. Actually, not typically, it's not intuition. But if it were intuition, it would be more of along the lines of just something quiet. It wouldn't even be a specific thing typically. It would be, I have a feeling this isn't going to go well, or I have a feeling this is going to be shorter than I thought, or I'm going to see, but I just have a weird feeling. It's usually not specific. If it is, it's about like one little topic. Like for example, the fight. I didn't know how the fight was going to happen. I just knew it involved that person and a fight. Like intuition is something that is very minuscule. I've learned over the years that your intuition is just a feeling. It doesn't have to tell you exactly what it is. Now, sometimes you will know exactly what it is, but typically, no, it's just a feeling. So if you think you have a feeling about something happening and it's just really specific, or it's multiple things or whatever, that's typically not your intuition, and it's your anxiety and overthinking. Also, assess the situation. So if it's a date, ask yourself, am I just nervous? Like that could be a possibility. I could literally just be nervous right now. Or if it's somewhere you've never been before, that also would cultivate anxiety. So it's not impossible for it to not be intuition and for it to just be anxiety or overthinking. So if you are having troubles deciphering in the moment, be quiet for a second. Like actually just be still and like kind of listen and just be like, okay, what is the first thought that comes to my mind? If you can't even figure it out, if you're like looking, then that's typically anxiety. But if there's a feeling of just, no, it'll be fine, intuition. Or I don't know, something's off, but like I feel like I'll be safe though. It just feels like something's off, or whatever, I might just not like him as much. And then that usually is what it is. Intuition is quiet. It's just kind of there. That's actually crazy because I didn't even look at my outline and I said it before looking at my outline, but it says, ask yourself, does this thought feel calm or is it spiraling? And that is very good to do, is to ask yourself, what is the feeling? Like tap into it. If it's there, look at it a little bit, because if it's intuition, it'll just be quiet. It'll just be there, no matter how hard you try to ignore it or look for it, or vice versa. If it's overthinking, it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be a little bit all over the place. Part 4, what happens when you trust your intuition? You start to make decisions with confidence and not fear. You are so much less anxious because you are confident in your decision. So even if you don't, because you're not going to have an intuitive feeling about literally everything. If you did want to check in and see if, okay, I'm about to do something, let me see if that's something I should do, then you'll probably get an intuitive feeling. That's how I use it now, is if I'm about to do something or go somewhere, or something that I'm like, should I, like back and forth, I'll just sit in silence for a second, and whatever the first thought is, that's what I go with. If you guys watch me on YouTube on my main channel, you would know, or I don't know, because it was like a specific video I'm talking about, but during Vlogmas, I was Christmas shopping for my Secret Santa. I was going back and forth between the size. I'll put the clip in on the YouTube channel if you guys are watching. If you're listening, if you want to go see it, go check out the podcast channel or just watch the video on YouTube. Damn, I don't know if she's a large or extra large. I'm just gonna get extra large because like I'd rather it be big than small. Oh, I don't know about that. She's tall and all, but hold on, let me think. This is a large. Damn. I'm gonna not test, but like tap in to my intuition really quick and think. Send me extra large. Extra large it is. It just looks really big. I don't know. See, now I'm second guessing. I feel like if she's a large and I get her extra large, I don't want her to be a thing. I'm gonna get large. I don't know. I think I'm gonna get the large. I just hope it's not too small, but something keeps, I'm getting the extra large. I feel like I need to re-tap into my intuition. It keeps saying extra large. All right. I kept going back and forth between large and extra large, and I was genuinely tweaking out. That was my overthinking. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like it's an extra large, but I don't know. Like, she just doesn't seem that big, like, not, oh my God, that sounds so bad. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like she would fit a large. I was really trying to logically pick. I was not listening to my intuition, and that's why I kept going back and forth. I genuinely was like tweaking. I kept going back and forth and being really indecisive because my brain was trying to make it a large, but my intuition in the back of my head was like, it's an extra large, but like, go ahead. But it's an extra large. And so every time I would put the extra large down and almost walk away with the large, I would be like, but I don't know. And I would go back and pick up the extra large again and look at them. And I finally sat still for a second and was like, okay, what size is it? Extra large. Okay, got it. And I just grabbed it. And fast forward to Christmas, when my grandma unboxed the gift, she was like, oh yeah, it's a good size too. Like, and perfect. Great. Now imagine I got her a large and she wouldn't have been able to comfortably fit in it. Like, it's just little stuff like that. Again, that's kind of a smaller thing, but still, it's always gonna be there. Like, it's always in the back of your mind, and if you want to tap into it, it's there. So I literally use it as like a fact checker. It's kind of my way of asking God yes or no, like, what's going on. And it's almost like I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like he's just in my pocket. Like, I can just ask really quick, and the intuitive feeling is just always there. It's always there. Even my best friend Marissa, she was pregnant. She had her baby now, but I love her already. I can't wait to see her next month. She didn't want to know the gender of her baby the whole pregnancy. She wanted to be surprised when she gave birth. And so when I found that out, I was like, oh, I think it's a boy. Like, I think it's a boy. And almost her whole pregnancy, I was like, it's a boy. But then that's another thing. I had a dream, and dreams are also intuitive. Like, dreams are part of your intuition. I couldn't even tell you how many dreams I've had of people snitching on themselves to me in my dream, of intuitive feelings that I already had about that person. And then it just like confirms what I already felt in my dreams. It's crazy. But anyways, and again, everybody can tap into that, by the way. Like, everybody has the ability to be that intuitive. It's just a muscle that you have to like strengthen. But anyways, so I had a dream that she had the baby actually in a Target parking lot. She ended up not having a baby in a Target parking lot, by the way. And she told me in the dream, it's a girl. And I was like, what? It's a girl? Oh my God. I started crying and all that. And I woke up and I was like, okay, it's a girl. Because part of me was like, maybe it is a girl. But I was so stuck on it being a boy. I don't even know why. I thought it was a boy. Like, I thought, keyword thought, not felt. There's a difference. I thought it was a boy, and I just wanted it to be a boy. So I was like, it's a boy. But every time I would really think about it, I'm like, I kind of feel like it's a girl. And she was doing the same thing. She's really intuitive as well. That's why that's my bestie. Like, she is so intuitive. She be knowing shit that I don't even be knowing, and vice versa. Like, oh, I love her. Anyway, love you, Iris. But she also, we were talking about it. I was like, I have a feeling it's a girl. And she's like, me too. Like, I just have a feeling. And so, I don't know. It's just a quiet feeling in the back of our heads. And it's there whether we want to listen to it or not. So, there's that. Another thing that happens when you trust your intuition is that you make more aligned decisions with your true self and your purpose in life. I am so grateful to be able to say that I experience this almost daily. I take a lot of aligned action because I just know, like, my intuition is just so strong at this point that if I have a feeling of a video I need to make, I make it. Or I'm like, okay, I need to make a podcast episode about this. I make it. I don't question it. I just do it because I know eventually it will pay off and I will see why I needed to do X, Y, and Z. It's getting to a point where it's like I'm living life on autopilot and I'm just listening to my intuition every single day, just doing things that I feel like I need to do. And I cannot wait to reap what I'm sowing, because the intuitive downloads that I get on a daily basis, it's actually really fascinating. And I'm actually really proud of myself for strengthening my intuition to where it is now, because you cannot hide shit from me. Like, you literally could not hide anything from me. You could lie to me straight to my face and I will know you're lying and not have any proof that you're lying. It's kind of scary how powerful my intuition is. And sometimes I wish that I didn't have it, because sometimes ignorance is bliss. But no, we're not ignorant over here at all. I be knowing everything. And I never was like that. I was very oblivious. And honestly, now that I look back, my intuition, again, has always been there. I just never really listened to it because I was delusional. Now I'm not delusional. Now I be knowing what's going on and I don't question it. It's just a feeling. It's just a feeling and it doesn't go away, and it's just quiet back there, but it's there. Another thing, life just feels easier. Like I've been saying, like, it's just easy when you listen to your intuition, because again, our higher selves and God and what we can't physically see knows more than us. Like, it just knows what's going on. Our creator knows what's going on before we do. Even our body knows what's going on before we do. Like, right around Christmas time, New Year's time, whatever, I was sick, and partially that's because of Vlogmas. You know, I wasn't really getting sleep or eating, so that's probably why. But then also too, I just felt so called to rest. Like, even though I wanted to come back to YouTube and come back to work, I felt like I needed to rest longer. And now I'm starting to see why, because I came back all gas, no brakes, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So it's just little stuff like that. It's just easier when you just listen, because it's almost like you're taking shortcuts in a good way. You're not taking the long road by ignoring your intuition. Oh, by the way, I don't know why I even forgot this, but another example of me ignoring my intuition was me living with somebody, getting into a freaking signed lease with somebody that I should not have lived with. And I experienced so much BS that I did not have to experience because I ignored my intuition. Something told me, do not sign that lease with her. Do not move in with her. You need to stay your ass right here. Do not break your lease. Do not sign that lease with her. And I did it anyway, because I just wanted to get out of the apartment that I was in, just because I wanted something new. Kiki. And it was the next, 6 to 9 months. I don't even know how long I was living there, but it was miserable, however long it was. And it felt like 10 years, and it was fucking terrible. And I ignored my intuition. Something told me not to do it, and I did it anyway. But I am grateful that I did do it, because I learned so much, and I actually know how to decipher like good and bad people now. So, you know, that's a plus. But I didn't have to go through all that, okay? I did not take a shortcut there. I went the long way to learn those lessons. But that's what happens when you ignore your intuition. So don't ignore your intuition. But yeah, like I said, the more you trust your intuition, the louder and clearer it becomes, and the less you question it. My advice would just to be start small, stay consistent with it, keep listening to it. It will get stronger, and it will lead you to your purpose. I promise. I'm being led right now as I speak, okay? And remember this episode, because I'm gonna go up. Okay, I'm saying it now because I just have a feeling. I just know my career path is nowhere near ending. It's actually just beginning. And my life in general. Like, I just know it. I just have a feeling. The more you trust your intuition, the more it will guide you to what's meant for you. Period. End of story. You will save so much time, so many lessons and friendships and stuff that you don't need to go through and experience if you just listen in the first place. And I'm truly speaking from experience when I say this. There's a reason why I'm telling you this, and there's a reason why this episode is long, because I feel very passionate about this, because I see what it's done for my life and every topic that I talk about, actually. But it's life-changing when you start listening to that inner voice in your head. It's there for a reason. You can unlock it. Everyone has the same potential. I really do believe that. It's just whether we tap into it or not. So if you feel like, oh, I'm just not like intuitive like that, or like, no, I don't think. No, you are. We all are a piece of our creator. That alone means that we are powerful, more powerful than we think. So it's just, again, whether you tap into it or not. I really believe and know everyone has the same potential. We were all starting at zero. It doesn't matter how our situation was growing up. We're human beings at the end of the day. And I really believe that human beings, there's just things that we can all tap into. For example, like manifesting or getting rich as fuck. Like, everybody has the ability to do it. It's just whether you believe it or not. And same thing with intuition. I do believe there are chosen ones and whatnot, but like, that doesn't negate the fact that every single human being has the ability to tap into their intuition and manifest and speak life into themselves and receive the best of the best because of what they say. Anyways, your intuition is truly your superpower. It really is. Especially if you're a woman. Especially if you're a woman or a mom. It doesn't matter. Like, we are just a little bit more intuitive. I really do believe that. It just connects you to your higher self and your purpose. And the only way that you can strengthen it and actually use it to your advantage is if you use it and listen to it and keep listening to it and allowing it to grow into this huge thing that you just don't doubt at all. I don't second guess anything that comes through anymore. And I am so good at deciphering between intuition and overthinking. I'll literally just ask, like, okay, should I do this or this? This? Okay. Literally, just like that. All day. I'd be like, I just met this person. How do I feel about them? Okay, I would keep my distance. All right, I'm going to keep my distance. Don't doubt it. Don't question it. whatever. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, now I'm rambling at this point, but you got this. Everyone has the potential to tap in. So tap in, because it's going to make your life easier. Why wouldn't we want to make our lives easier? Hello? Like, why are you even here if you're not trying to make your life easy? Like, why are you even here? Okay. Anyways, I love you so much. I'll talk to you guys next week. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned even just a little bit about, your intuition if you had no idea, or like whatever side of the spectrum you're on. I hope that you gained something from this episode and that you can take it and apply it to your own life. That is the whole entire goal. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. The podcast does have its own Instagram, The Realist Podcast. Add me on Snapchat if you like seeing behind the scenes and whatnot. I do post a lot about behind the scenes, and I answer questions that I typically wouldn't answer anywhere else for some reason. I don't know. Yeah. I'll see you guys next week. I love you. Bye.